Hello, people. Good afternoon from the sunny side of Glasgow. It's really sunny, and you're welcome to the first and maiden edition of one of the favorite podcasts that will be hitting your radios for the next few months. 3,000 miles, and 3,000 miles is all about a platform where we talk about our experiences as immigrants from Africa. We just give our stories and what we have experienced coming to the UK, coming to Scotland, and how we've been able to adapt to the whole settings of staying abroad as immigrants, and also how we've been able to preserve our culture, because we're from Africa where the culture is revealed and it's taken to heart. So how we've been able to preserve culture and how we've been able to really imbibe the culture of the British people. So it's going to be a platform where we just talk and share stories and have fun. And I just want to officially welcome everyone to this ride, and it's going to be fun. Well, actually, I'm not in the studios alone. I'm here with my co-host, Dimeji. Dimeji, say hi.
Hello everyone. 3,000 miles is the name of the show, and 3,000 miles is here to let you know you are not alone. You know, the encounters that will be shared here will encourage you that never will you feel isolated again. So yeah, 3,000 miles emanated. I remember, emanated from being a podcast.
Exactly.
Now we've also walked 3,000 miles. We should clap for ourselves.
Yes, we've walked the walk. And also, we're not here alone. We're here with she was part of the journey when it started, and it's only fair to bring her back on again to just be part of the maiden edition on Jambo Radio. We have the delectable. I call her Koko, baby. Koko is in the studio with us.
Hello everyone. I'm really delighted to be here.
Okay, so taking it from there, if you're just joining us, this is 3,000 miles, and this program is specifically meant for immigrants in the United Kingdom, Scotland precisely. The idea is to probe into how an individual, we immigrants, have been able to cope with the culture, just like my co-host have said, with the culture we met here in Scotland. We would assess areas of similarities where one's indigenous way of life synchronizes with the Scottish culture, and areas of differences where there is a yawning gap, or what we call the cultural shock. So today, I want the brain behind these 3,000 miles to unveil the first topic. Do us the honor. Saki.
Okay, let's have a drum roll. And so the topic for today is actually a very interesting one. Well, definitely going forward, we're going to be talking a whole lot of things. And at a point, we're going to have a kind of, I'll just put it out to you. We're going to have a kind of a platform where listeners out there can actually suggest what we can talk about, and actually be part of the show and actually come on board. But today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, and it's one of the most talked about topics in the world, everywhere, even in Africa. Dressing. So we're going to look at how has it been coming to a place, and the way people dress is totally different. Totally different. Koko, I just want you to start, because I know you have a lot to say about it. Just say something. What do you think from the dressing aspect? How was it feeling like for you when you came? And
I mean, to be honest with you, I think lately it's not been too different back home. I mean, in comparison to how people dress out here in the UK. I'm not a typical African mother, so coming from someone who has been exposed to an extent, I feel like there's no much difference. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's no much difference, but that's not to say that for a typical Nigerian mother, I don't think they would share the same idea as myself. Because, for example, when I got here, the first thing I said to myself when I got on a bus and saw how some people dress during summer just like this, I'm like, okay, my reaction, I'm not even going to lie, my reaction was just to look for a rapper. Like literally go home, pick a wrapper and cover them up. Do you get?
They're gonna sue you if you try that.
I know.
You're gonna be sued.
I know. I know. I didn't do that. I did not. I definitely didn't do that. But that was my reaction initially. Reaction when I got here and saw that. Not that I haven't seen it in movies and anyway, but seeing it, live was a bit different. And I'm not even joking. Like the first thing that came to my mind was, oh my God, how did they leave their houses wearing stuff like that? Do you get?
Yeah, Kay, if you remember, we were in train together one day like that. I was still new, and we were coming from school, and I was still very, very, very. I think I was still at the early stage of the cultural shock I met here, and I said to you, Kay, these are secondary school students. Why are they wearing skimpy? And Kay was like, oh. My brother, your eyes, you will look and you will be the one to train your eyes and say, nah, I don't want to look anymore. And taking it from there, I think lately, those things that used to move me don't move me anymore.
Ordinary things, not even
the strange thing is, I come from a very strong religious background. I come from, you should understand, my mom is a Mountain of Fire Miracle Ministries. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about deeper life, these guys are top 3 in Nigeria. Deeper Life, Mountain of Fire. These are people that they want you to even wear sack. Right. When you're going out, if you are going to wear sack and put Bible as your hat.
Your ears,
so
your ears.
You could imagine what when I was coming here. Although I'm a very social person, but coming here, the terrain in Nigeria is more. There are some places you go and you see those kind of stuff, maybe club, but here it's just everywhere. And you're like,
no. The thing is, I'm a conservative Nigerian. I'm a traditional African Nigerian man. So it's not like we don't see girls dressing in skimpy clothes in Nigeria. Like we're not from we didn't come from the desert or something. We see all that, but they're in specific places and clubs. Mainly the club, or when you go to the beach or something like that. Yeah. But coming here, honestly, the first summer I experienced, I will tell you, the first day I came out, like when they said this is summer and I came out, I went to Glasgow. My mouth were open for like all the time. I was like, what's happening here? Because like Koko said, these are things we see in the movies. Like you see the movie, like, okay, maybe it's acting, they're just acting. When I was seeing this thing in the flesh, it was live. Like girls were practically naked, and I was like, "What's happening here? What's going on?" And I was looking. My eyes were going left. My eyes were going left, right. As I'm following this one, as it's fading for my vision, another one is coming.
That's what my people would say. You were feeding your eyes.
I called my guy in Nigeria. I was like, Baba, I don't believe fool. I just drink water now because I've seen. My eyes have seen. I saw a lot, but the way these people dress it, they don't care. And that's the funny thing. Normally in Nigeria, you see a lady who's dressed in a skimpy kind of clothes. You see how she's dressed in a funny way, and she's always very conscious of, maybe she's wearing a short gown. She's always very conscious of the fact that she's wearing a short gown, and from time to time, you see her pull them down.
Bro, the community will even shout. You know what I'm talking about, Koko. Yeah. You go out and you see some women saying, is this dressing?
So the thing is, you don't even need to listen to them, or it's not just about the community shouting. You yourself, as an African, back at home, if you wear something that is really short, I'm not even joking, like you're very self-conscious of the fact that your dress is short. So in like maybe 5 minutes, or even, what am I saying, 5 minutes, that's way too long. Every minute you're literally pulling down whatever, your dress or your skirt or something.
Now, picking it from there. Now let's talk about this cross-cultural understanding. We've come here, and one way or the other, we've been able to adjust. Let me use the word adjust. I think I'm at a phase where those things don't move me anymore, and I know it's similar to you guys.
It moves me. It still moves me. I'm a man.
Yeah, of course, you know what I'm saying, but the rate at which it has high tendency it has reduced. But of course, you still feed your eyes and you still see some things and say, oh wow. But now let's see. There was a perception then when some of our family members that have been here or in the abroad come back to Nigeria, then we tend to think they've lost something valuable. Look at them, their parents didn't train them well. Now you can see from both angles now. What can you talk about the dressing? dressing culture from that dimension. Let's divulge into that.
No, the truth is, you are going to lose, whether you like it or not. If you stay abroad, you go back home, you are going to lose. There's no two ways about it. You lose some level of culture. The other day I was speaking with someone. I was coming from work, and I had to talk with someone, and he's a very advanced guy. He's Nigerian, and he saw my hair. He asked me a question. He's like, "Why is it that when Nigerians come abroad, you see young Nigerian guys there abroad, they change their hairstyle and they're looking all different, the way they dress and everything?" I'm like, the truth is, whether we like it or not, we are a product of the environment we stay in.
True.
Knowingly or unknowingly, the environment has a way of affecting you. Let's give a scenario. The Nigerian weather is really hot this way. We experience this weather practically like half the time of the year.
Yeah.
We experience sun. And in that sun, people still wear suit and tie to work, right? I used to work in the back. Under this hot sun, I'm wearing my suit.
Of course.
And I'm going out. But I'm here now. It's hot and I'm dressed in shorts and t-shirts and I'm walking on the street. Perception has changed. I go back to Nigeria. It gets so hot. I won't wear a suit.
You can't even come to a radio station like this.
Honestly, you can't even go for work like this. And they'll say, my friend, you dressed for work.
In as much as, I agree with you that the environment, sort of affects you and everything. But personally, I feel like if it's in you, it's in you. I feel like the level of hypocrisy back at home is on the rise. People know that they want to wear short stuff, but because we care too much about what this person would say, I'm too scared of my mom. I'm too scared. Not just your mom also has like an image to uphold, or maybe she's like a deaconess in church or something. My church member is going to think that my child is
wayward
and stuff. So you see in Nigeria people literally wearing really long dresses to leave their houses, and then when they get to wherever it is they are going to, they take it off. So for me, I feel like when you leave Nigeria and come out here, you know that nobody's judging you. People are not looking at you saying, this is this person's child. Nobody even knows you. Your next door neighbor doesn't even know what your name is. So you don't care. The same way, you know that nobody's judging you. Coco, you're literally free to do what you want to do. Do you get?
I want you to divulge this before Kay also contribute. Now, pick this African proverb. You are addressed the way you're addressed. Does it apply here? And is it actually a wise saying?
I don't personally. I feel it's very African. It's more African than it just affects Africans. That's what I think.
No, but was that proverb an African proverb? That's the first thing. You have to know the history of that proverb. Who said it? Who said it first?
I'm not even joking. It works more back there than it does here, because I've seen people who dress skimpily. For example, I love short stuff, but that doesn't make me a wayward person. So the thing is, for me, it took me changing my mindset and my perception to actually give other people a chance. For example, I love short stuff.
Are you sure that's not you losing your African identity?
No, it isn't. Because that happened before I got here.
But do you wear short stuffs in Nigeria?
I wear short stuff in Nigeria.
Do you wear short stuff in front of your parents?
I wear short stuff.
Because
no, hang on, chill, okay. So it wasn't always the case. That wasn't always the case, right? So, but it took me growing up and being exposed. These days, I can tell my mom that, hey, I know people who wear the longest dresses that are XYZ. I start mentioning them. Do you remember your sister or your auntie or your cousin that did XYZ? She wears really long stuff. I wear short stuff, and you know that I'm not.
Have you also observed
Yeah.
that if you were in Nigeria with this hair, truly, you have problem. But as soon as my son is in the abroad and you come, there's this kind of understanding your parents just assume. But that's how they used to do.
Should I tell you a funny story? Let me tell you a funny story about this, my hair.
Okay.
When I came here, I used to have hair right from time. Even when I was in Nigeria, but it was not as much as this or as rough or what you would call rough in Nigeria. But to me, it's just fashion. I had hair, but when I came here, I had to braid and do all that. And my parents called me. They're like, people are talking, that your child has gone abroad, he has gone wayward, please, this is your hair. Please, my father called me and said, if you love me, do something about your hair. And I'm like, So because
I will give you a similar experience.
Exactly.
Wait.
So at the end of the day, let me finish. So at the end of the day, he said it was my birthday. He called me and he said, I would have posted your picture, but you're not looking.
You
I don't like
look
your hair.
like my son.
I can't post it on my Facebook so everybody will see that this is the hair my son is carrying. And so that's just the African mentality. The truth is that what I've noticed about Africans is that our parents in Africa are more concerned about their reputation than their children's sanity.
Exactly.
That's just the truth.
Now look at this. I played a prank on my mom recently. She's a pastor in a mountain of fire. So I told her that, Mom, I want to draw a tattoo and I want to draw your name. She said, Jesus Christ, Jesus, I have lost. I won't lose you to the world. I said, I'm not lost. She said, you are going. I said, I'm not going anywhere. She said, you are gone. The way you are talking, you are gone. She had to call my wife behind me. Say, please, are you guys holding on to God? And it was a prank. Now, let's bring that to reality. I really want to draw tattoo. Tattoo appearance also is part of dressing. It's part of how you look. Is this actually still like a puzzle that Africans can't, fix their mind on? That, this is just a personality, someone's choice, and not really associated to some kind of waywardness as well too.
Oh, the thing is, let me tell you the thing, right? It's just growing up in a certain environment. Like I said earlier, when Koko was trying to describe with me, I said the environment you stay in has a way of fashioning your mind to behave in a certain way, whether you like it or not. You've heard the story of the eagle who was giving birth to in the
amidst the chicken.
I didn't know he could fly. I was there all his life thinking he was a chicken. So that's life for you, because I grew up in an environment where wearing short clothes, automatically they see you as a prostitute. And they say, I don't want to shower. Just for wearing something skimpy. I know, Koko, you must have experienced it. You must have gotten some kind of funny looks when you go out to the market or something.
Yeah, you're not even lying at all, especially in the markets and everything. But I feel like, sorry to cut you, but let's be fair to them. There were years, growing up, to be honest, this is not me trying to profile anyone or anything, but growing up, when you see a thief or someone who is known to be a thief or something bad, you definitely see them smoking. You definitely see them with the rough hairstyles and everything. And when you see someone who hops from bed to bed, you would see them wearing those really short stuff. I think that's where the whole thing comes from. So I think with time, they'll get to know that because you're putting on something short doesn't make you a prostitute or anything. And you smoking, I've seen really lovely people. I'm not even joking. If an African parent comes here for the first time and sees the way Scottish people smoke because of the weather and everything, they would not understand that the weather is really cold. That's why they are smoking. I'm sure the first thing would be like, these people are just
smoking their life.
You want to die.
They are going.
And you get. But
that's true.
So it would take a while for people to actually make them know that you don't have to be a bad person. You don't have to be an armed robber to braid your hair as a guy. Even people on low cuts can actually steal from people and all of that. Do you get?
Just in case you're just joining us, it's still 3,000 miles on Jambo Radio Scotland, and you can actually listen to us on our website www.jamboradio.co.uk, and we also have our apps on the iOS and on Android, and also you can also listen to us on smart speaker and follow all our social media handles from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram on Jambo Radio. So Koko, I'd like to ask you a question. I'd like to just jump. Let me ask you this question, because you talked about something about people perception and everything. How do you convince a woman who is 60 years old, who has been exposed to a certain kind of culture all her life, that somebody who's wearing how do they call that one? Is it pantyhose or is it, what you know the names? How can you convince a woman who is 60 years, a Nigerian woman, that this girl dressing like this is not because she's a prostitute, it's just a normal way of life? How do you convince that kind of person?
I know that it's absolutely difficult. Like, it's really difficult, but I've seen it happen. For example, right? See, I am getting married to a boy who has, both his parents are alive and everything. I'm not even joking. If an African mother comes to visit you and you're putting on really short stuff, even if it's in the house, or say you're going to like the store nearby and you're in your bomb shorts and stuff, they'll be like, did you marry a prostitute or something like that? But I think what's the word? Your husband actually standing up for you. That's just one scenario. Standing up for you, saying that this person is definitely not a prostitute or something, like this is a well-behaved person. And hopefully, let's pray to God that the African mother is, open-minded to an extent, at least, even no matter how tiny it is, just to give her a chance and to see that this person is definitely very well-behaved.
Answering that also, I remember that when my mom came to London, she came twice, her perception just changed. And things that she was so rigid about before just became flexible. She began to understand certain things. And I was surprised one day when my mom went to a party and she brought beer for me and my younger brother. I thought you guys would like beer. I was like, I opened it, I drank it, and we're talking normally.
And you were not scared?
I wasn't scared. I actually wanted to drink it in her presence, so she knew that I'm drinking. And she was just talking normally. So Mom, what happened to your feet? Say, what do you mean? You gave me beer, you're making me backslide. Say, no. That is just beverage. Really? So what has happened is, when she was giving us an encounter of what she met in London, she started attending some night parties. Now she understood that it is not a bow child that works at night. It's because our electricity is not good in Nigeria.
Right.
She started understanding that it is about your choice in life. She started understanding some certain things. And her mind changed. So, she became a very, very, an open-minded person, like you said. And I think exposure really matters.
Exactly. And then in my own case, right, I feel what changed my mom's, way of thinking to an extent was me and my own way of thinking. And the fact that these people keep doing things in your face and I point at them to her. I'm like, see? So and so person, who would believe that this person would do XYZ? Oh, this person's daughter, the one that wears or ties her ears and everything, is she not pregnant right now? Who would have thought that she would be pregnant, out of wedlock or without getting married and stuff like that? Oh, my landlord in Lagos is a pastor. Now we're giving quick notice to him. I'm not sure what happened or how that whole thing got messy, but he still took rent from us without informing us that, we won't be there in the next 3 months or 6 months and everything. So I don't miss out on an opportunity to point out those things to my mom. I'll be like, do you know, this man is a pastor.
He's a Christian.
On Sunday, he would climb the pulpit and he would preach to everybody, like thousands or hundreds of people, about not lying, about not deceiving people, but he just deceived people. I'm sure this man doesn't wear shorts out of the house, but one would think that because he has a suit and tie on, or his children don't wear the short stuff, and or his kids are on well-trimmed or low cuts and all that stuff, or they don't braid their hair, they don't have dreads and all of that, you would think that they are like saints. But you see what he just did. So I point them out to her. So that also
practically the proverb that says you are dressed the way you dress is just null and void.
No, let me hit something here. Let me hit a point here. The thing is, in as much as perception changes with exposure, there are still some innate values that can never change in you.
True.
No matter what.
True.
Classical example, I still don't subscribe to the school, the way they dress, the way their students dress here, no matter how exposed I get. Because I see, honestly, you see a child who is 10, 12, she's wearing something so short that her bump is exposed and going to school. To me, it doesn't make any sense. I will be very honest with you. In as much as we want to feel like we are exposed.
Because we were a boy child and we knew the mechanism of being a boy child. What was growing now? I'm just buttressing your point. Sorry to quote you.
No problem. Because the truth is, exposure does not mean madness. Or go because you want to be exposed, you go naked. Me, I'll tell you the fact. I like women who look sexy. And one definition of looking sexy is when something that exposes a lot of skin. I won't lie, I like it. But there has to be some kind of boundaries.
Yeah, there should be balance.
Yeah, there should be a balance. But I have noticed that a lot of us Africans, we initially come here and strike that balance. We still have some home training. But at some point, you decide to want to put your home training in the bin.
I think
But it's still the hypocrisy I'm talking about.
Yes.
Because most times you already have that, but the environment in Africa doesn't afford you that opportunity to be yourself, to be that exposed, or as, exposed as you would want to be. So when you come to an environment where you can literally do whatever it is that you want and get away with it, in terms of what we're talking about, dressing, you would express yourself. There are some people in Nigeria who legit want to wear these pants, who want to wear skimpy stuff, go to wherever they want to go to, but because they are in Nigeria, they have to be quote and unquote good people, or they want to be seen as the perfect people, or whatever it is, or they don't want to be talked about in bad light.
I'm sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want us to go hard on the cultural orientation here. When we compare to culture, according to Chinua Achebe, says there's no culture that is superior to another. What we need to do, the example he gave was when this independence came, everybody started buying car, the African value started reducing. Then he was at a party. What happened was there was an hit and run, and the victim was on the ground, pool of blood, and they rushed. Let us rush this man to the hospital. And the only available car was a Peugeot. And the man who owns the Peugeot said, the only excuse is, no. He's going to stain. I just bought this car newly. His blood is going to stain my car seat. Then it dawned on him that we value humans. We value ourselves before materialism. Then our cultural orientation has started degrading. So in his own perspective, he says that we need to bring out the good side of one culture, bring out the good side, sieve out the bad, they merge. Because, to be honest, not everything is also good in the culture. Like Kia said, like he doesn't subscribe to the dressing of this. Not everything is absolutely good in this culture. So it's not all about, to me, it's not all about this culture is superior to this. But it's just all about how we can merge it and be, to be accurately balanced, and for us to project ourselves rightly. Now let's talk about this. You said you like skimpy clothes. There are some people whose notion about skimpy clothes is just for the fact that they don't even know what they like. They just see you, Koko, and they just say, I want to go naked. Me too, I want to wear pant and bra. I want to review myself. Because they've not gotten to a stage where they have this identity of themselves and say, this is who I am, this is what I am, this is what I want to do.
Right.
People are just driven. So I really want us to strike that balance and let us discuss about that to people, because young people are listening to us, middle-aged people are listening to us, old people are listening to us. I know some people are subscribing, some people are saying, nah, some people will, but we really need to divulge this thing and say, okay, fine, this is where the balance strikes in. So what do you think about that?
Still that favorite program on radio, 3,000 miles, and this is Jambo Radio Scotland. And you can actually listen to us on our website, www.jamboradio.co.uk, and we also have our apps on iOS and on Android. You can download and listen to all the favorite programs, and we're also on smart speaker. You can listen to us there too, and you can actually connect with us on all our social media platforms at Jambo Radio Scotland. So we still have Dimeji in the studio, my co-host, and also Koko in the studio. We've been delving into an interesting topic, dressing. So we're having a conversation before we went on break, and from what you said, I think the problem here is a lot of immigrants who come into Scotland and want to adapt to culture are extremists.
Okay.
If I use that word. Because naturally, Nigerians are extremists. We like taking everything to the extreme.
Sure about that?
Yeah, that's the Nigerian for you. A Nigerian man, for example, let me give you a classic example. Imagine if they're sharing free food in Glasgow. You see the Scottish people, they go and take one pack. A Nigerian man, we want to I do it a lot. I worked in the stadium once, and they were sharing this smart lunches for people just after the work, and people were taking one. I took one, and my friend's like, Baba, we need to take extra for, and we're going back and going. So you see that extreme behavior, because yes, people want to dress skimpy, but you see Nigerians doing it to a very, very, to the largest extent, as in they are going out of hand.
I actually don't agree with you on that, because I don't think I've seen like a typical, like a Nigerian wearing. No, I haven't. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I haven't seen that. You know what I'm talking about when you go to the streets. When you are coming here, I think Dimeji, you mentioned that you saw a few. Like you would. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but I don't think Nigerians take it to that extreme. But then again, have you been locked up, or let's say someone that has not been able to work for a really long time? Oh, perfect example, lockdown in 2020 when we couldn't come out. So imagine being locked in for a couple of months, and then at last, oh, you can now go out, you can step out. People went all out, people partied, people stayed out for a really long time. So imagine coming from Nigeria where you couldn't do certain stuff. You couldn't make your hair as a guy, you couldn't sag.
So it's cultural liberty, that's what you're talking about.
Thank you. Then you go to a place where you are at liberty to do just anything. And for most of us, your parents are not here. So imagine having that sort of freedom. I would lie, even if you're the one, you will take it.
So I like to throw a question to the floor. So the thing is, with this cultural exposure you've had now in terms of dressing, when you go back to Nigeria and you want to dress this way and you're being scolded, will you change your pattern of dressing when you probably visit Nigeria, or what will you do? Because give or take, in as much as people in Nigeria are getting to see more of being exposed in terms of dressing, there are a lot of people who are still conservatives. For example, somebody asked me, if you visit Nigeria, will you go with this your hair? I said, I can't tell. I don't know. I don't know for now, because I know the reception I'll be greeted with, because my father is also a pastor. And imagine I walk into church on Sunday.
Before you even reach church, SARS will greet you.
Exactly.
The Nigerian police force might welcome you back to Nigeria. I think I understand your point. And this plays a major role where we have to play what is called cultural intelligence. There is emotional intelligence, there is cultural intelligence. You don't go to... Okay, what happened to Rihanna? When Rihanna went to, was it Saudi Arabia? She went to take some shots, and she wasn't dressing properly. She was almost using her nose to spite her face. She wanted to cut her nose to spite her face, because those people took that matter up and said, you know what, we don't care if you're a superstar or whatever. You can't come here to come and rubbish our religion, because the environment there states how you should comport yourself.
That's a different thing for me, because I am from Nigeria. I am not going to Saudi Arabia or whatever it is. I get you. I get your example, right? But if I am going back to Nigeria, I want to ask you, right? At what point do you really think about yourself? Like, after all of the exposure, for me, I strike a balance. I'm not extreme with my fashion and all of that stuff. But I've gotten to the point in my life where I feel like what makes me happy should be very important. I don't care what the next person thinks, because I know that deep down, I know I'm not a wayward person. I know that I'm a good person in my own way. But because I wear my bomb shorts, and to be fair, I'm not going to wear the ones where my butt cheeks are out and everything. No, I'm not that extreme. But
we love
I am not going.
So where can we see that?
We love to see that. That's what we love to see.
That's what we want to see, man.
I'm sure your wife would be listening in right now. You sure she would be happy?
No, but the thing here is, it's from what I've been able to see, it shows how porous Nigerian culture is in terms of being infiltrated by Western culture. A classical example is, look at people from the Middle East who come here. The question is, do they compromise the way they dress?
Well, it's. Do you know why I want to pick my response so quick with that? Because it wouldn't be fair to use the experience we had, most especially the nation on the west coast of Africa, the experience we had with white settlers infiltrating our culture, subduing, conquering, conquering us with superior weapon. A lot of things happened. A lot of our values. We saw strong men were brought down before our face. People we idolized in the society. It was written. You can see in Things Fall Apart, Okonkwo, these are things that really, really happen in the society. And human beings, we go after things that provide us safety. And now, Nigerian culture, to some certain extent, if you see next, please, there was this the review on culture that was done lately about Yoruba culture on Netflix and everything, the Benin, and we still have identity. I'm telling you, Nigerian culture is very strong because most countries in Africa has lost a lot of their cultural identity, and most of them are even ashamed to even associate with native attire the way Nigerians. Do you know what they call us? They call Nigerians colonizers in Africa because they said if you invite Nigerians to your party, Nigerians will take over your party and they will be the one to dictate the music you listen to, dictate your food, dictate. We are just like that. We are just more the colonizers in Africa, and that's our nature.
But we are slowly losing that. Because the truth is,
I'm coming. We imported it, bro. We imported this culture. That is the reason why you and I could still verbalize ourselves in pidgin wherever we meet ourselves. We don't care. That's Nigerians for you. Anywhere Nigerians, have you really, really noticed that people feel intimidated? Wherever Nigerians are. So, we are the only blacks. I'm not apologizing, but we are the only blacks I can say that we are unapologetic. And we are so proud to exude, to express ourselves. But I understand your point. You have a very valid point too. Because lately now we are having British schools in Nigerians.
British Montessori and all the British.
Teaching our students, our kids how to be stupid.
How to speak in the right diction. I'm like, what do you call the right? That's another thing.
What do you mean how to be stupid? Teaching your kids how to be stupid.
Wait. Please, let me protest my point. Please. The reason why I said how to be stupid is this. The pidgin English right now and Africanity is exported to the world. You see what we are doing in music, in fashion, in all spheres of life.
But that's the thing. You send your child to school to learn about other cultures and be exposed to other things. You have a duty at home to also teach your
Black
child.
Parents are rebuking their children from expressing Africanity. They want them to speak, to express themselves in another man's identity. That is creating identity crisis in those kids. By the age of 7, an average child is already exposed to white supremacy. And now we come back here to talk about their identity because you express yourself. Are you proud to dress in your native attire?
Okay, Koko, let me ask you a question. Since you've been here, have you worn something traditional?
Yes, completely. Yesterday I was out in my Ankara top and oh my God, it was so nice. And I got a lot of stairs out there, by the way. So I am proud and I'm, like you said, I'm very unapologetic about it because I've even seen that these people also like it when they love stuff from us. In as much as their culture has infiltrated ours, they still like the things that come from Africa. But there's something I want to point out, right? There are cultures in Nigeria that allow for skimpy things.
Of course.
Would you believe that? Because, so I feel like I don't know, maybe it's just me, but would you say that it's like the religious people in Nigeria that would have a problem with, certain ways that people dress? For example, if you go to, where I come from Cross River State, so I don't know if anybody's familiar with Calabar, but what we put on, I'm not talking about the typical...
I'm familiar with Calabar girls.
Yeah, not the ethic.
I didn't listen to that. I'm not part of that story.
So, you see, where I come from, right, when, during our traditional marriages, like the ceremonies, right, what we put on, we tie like a two-piece fabric wrapper. One is just covering to the, under your bust. So which means your entire belly is out there in the open. And then you're tying a really short piece as well, just covering to your butt cheeks level. So your legs are also exposed.
Are you serious?
So I am saying that
Because
So when are you going to dress like that? When are you?
was that what you wore yesterday?
No, absolutely not. So I am saying that, but do you know that when a quote and unquote Christian mother's child is getting married, they don't do that. They would make you tie the wrapper. They will steal another person's culture, because I know that the Igbos would tie, like, their wrappers would be longer. So they would prefer to steal a different culture just because they don't want you to have your bodies out in the open. But do you see where I'm coming from? So the hypocrisy is actually quite loud over there, even within us. Forget we are out here.
Koko, do you know why I won't call it hypocrisy? I will call it the fact is that a lot of us immigrants, we tend to emulate the bad and leave out the good parts and leave out the good stuff from culture. That is how the average Nigerian
So
thinks.
what's the bad and what's the good?
See, for example, okay, Scottish culture, the men, they wear skirt. And how many African men have you seen putting on a skirt or a kilt, like they call it, and say I want to dress like I'm imbibing the culture?
So
why is it that we only imbibe the skimpy part of the culture, where we must always dress skimpy and look funny with the hairstyle and everything?
But
Why have you asked yourself why?
Like two genders. You're talking about men. So what culture? What Scottish culture rather do the men imbibe? I'm talking about the immigrants. What Scottish?
When you see their hair, the hair is all looking. See, let me tell you. I have people I have spoken to, and I have somebody I spoke to who was in Nigeria, and he told me, said the first thing I come here, once I come here, I must plait my hair. So you see the mindset. It already feels. The reason why
I don't even see Scottish men braiding their hair.
No, the reason why a lot of Africans come here, because we have that liberty, to do anything in terms of dressing and get away with it. Because the truth, nobody cares about what you wear. You can even go naked and you can walk, nobody cares. But we come from a culture where a lot of people care about what you as a person wear, because they are not looking at it from their own perspective. For example, a lady who is wearing, if I have a kid, imagine me having a kid in Nigeria who's 10 or 7, and there's a lady wearing a bikini and probably just a small bra covering just the nipple, and the person is passing. I won't want my child to see that. The thing is, you see a lot of these people, we think.
But why would you not want your child to see that?
Wait,
At what point do we train? I'm so sorry.
If you're just joining us, this is 3,000 miles. I can see a lot of people are already commenting already. People from United States and Ghana. This is Jambo Radio. You can also follow us on our social media platform. You can download the app on iOS and on Android. The topic for today is actually Scottish dressing from the eyes of an average conservative Nigerian. And in the studio, I have Kay, who is a co-host with me, and we have the beautiful Koko, who has been divulging and tearing the topic apart.
She's been going in and out.
Yes. So you were about to say something the other time before I caught in.
Oh, Lord help me. So my point is this, right? I know this is it might take us a little bit off topic, but it's just what Kay was saying about his 10-year-old not seeing someone that is not or skimpily dressed or something. But at what point do you teach your male children that people, because I see males on the street taking off their shirts. So why can't a female do the same thing? But this is a completely different topic, by the way. But that's because
you can do it. Yeah, we want it. We really want that.
Honestly,
you are saying that you would not want your 10-year-old to see that. Why would you not want your 10-year-old
for my 10-year-old to see that? I won't want it. But for me, from my honest opinion, if they have to do a survey and say, should women start taking off their tops in public? 100%. Am I speaking your mind?
Yeah. Okay. This leads to the next question. Right. I really like the way we've been delving deep into this question. Now this leads to now that we've experienced a fusion of culture in the global space, the onus still rests on you to sieve out the bad and to adopt the good. Now, where does the balance strike? I'm speaking to conscience now. I'm not speaking to any cultural because we can discuss culture and we'll just use one to fault another and this. But where does this conscience come? Kay says something and I hold on to it about Asians coming in. Do they compromise? I would say that the older ones might still hold on very rigidly too. But we are raising our kids here. There's a limit to which, because these are their people. This is their culture.
But
this is their identity. It is what we tell them at home. Now, how do we strike a balance
so
with the kid?
The thing is, what is good and what is bad? So first of all, to be able to do that, you have to identify what it means to be good. And for me, being good is relative. To be honest, what you think is good might not be good for the next person. So what is good? Are you going to say that because we are from Africa or we are Nigerians, we have like a rule or a set of rules that, list out what is good and what is bad? And are we really sure that what we've listed out to be good and bad, makes sense to other people who are not Nigerians?
Okay, so why questioning that?
No, I need to also know, what do you think in relation to this topic at hand, which is dressing? Okay, what would you say that is good and what would you say is bad?
To me, anything at all that will create sanity in the society, that will contribute to the improvement of humanity is good.
No. In regards to dressing,
okay, let me comment.
Talking about
in regards to dressing, let's be very practical.
All right.
Let's be very practical. A girl with a skimpy skirt with all her, just imagine a lady wearing a skimpy short with the butt cheeks showing and a skimpy top. Walking on Oshodi, just walking around that Oshodi area with all the tout sports drivers. What do you think would be the reaction?
How about we get to the point where she wears the that particular outfit that you've just described, and the men mind their businesses? Because it's usually
we will never see that.
Why
is the
does
truth.
it do stuff
That
to
is
you,
the thing,
though?
We will never mind. We grow Africa or Nigeria is a society where people will never. You will always see people. The next year, fine girl. Yes, Olosho. That is the reaction you get.
Some might even go to the extreme of
harassing you.
Wait, hang on. So while we are trying to get people to quote and unquote dress decently, how about we also get these people to also behave in, because you screaming and calling people names, that makes you
Koko.
I am trying not to use the word that is in my head right now.
Koko, I am your son and he is your daughter. Advise us. How would you maintain cultural identity?
Maybe because I don't have a son and a daughter just yet. I'm sure I'll struggle
just
with
pretend. How would you instill cultural identity in us while you are raising us in Scotland?
For me, right, I might not be the best person to give the kind of advice that you are looking for, because I am
I am your son. Whatever you give me, I will take now.
Please, my son, unborn son, listen. Be true to yourself, man. Just do what makes you happy.
Smoking makes me happy. Smoking makes me happy with my friends.
Please, by all means, if you know that you want to, if you know that you want to die by a certain age, smoke cigarettes. I do not have a problem with, God, come back to me, Kay. Please take this. I have to think.
No, the thing here is, the cultural perspective. There's a wide gap between Africans, the way we see culture and dressing, and the way the British people see dressing. To them, dressing is just another form of expression. Exactly, that's the word. And they have this saying that wear what makes you feel comfortable. If you feel comfortable going naked, go naked. Nobody cares.
That's the thing.
But the thing is, you as an African who wants to stay true to identity.
Who is a hypocrite, by the way?
No, not a hypocrite. Yes, we are a lot of hypocritical people in Africa, but there has to be some form of balance. Growing a child here, I will not be okay seeing my teenage daughter who's like 12 coming out with bump shots with the butt cheek showing. I will let her and I say, come.
At a certain age
at all? No, at a certain age. I will let you know. This is what I'll do. I will let you know that, come. This thing you're wearing, to you think is normal. But there are a lot of insane men out there who read wrong messages.
Thank you. That's why I'm saying that.
Let me
Please.
No problem.
Just so I don't lose this train of thought.
No problem.
So while you're telling your daughters, oh, don't do this because of these insane men, how about you also tell your son not to be that insane man, not to grow up to be that insane man that would make young girls not to express themselves. So at the end of the day, that's why I stand my ground that we are hypocritical back at home, because you do all of these things, stop your daughters from doing this XYZ, they become smarter, they find ways of wearing the really big skirts that you're looking for, and by the time they leave your house, they are a completely different person. That's why you'd see back at home, I know, okay, you're a pastor's child, but pastor's children, this is not for you, but you might be one of them. But pastor's children, I am not saying that all of them are the same, but majority of the pastor's children are the absolute worst in when you're describing,
that's a fallacy. That's a fallacy.
When you're describing a typical, good and bad. No, that's because you're a pastor's child. But that's because there's no freedom to do, to express themselves. And it's
I was about to say that.
My father this, my father, because you have a congregation and all of that. So why can't I just express myself?
See, I was about to say that because human beings naturally we hate the word do not. Even God, it is written in the Bible, even God told us, do not. And human beings still find a way of saying.
That's why there's a university in Nigeria, not to call the name or anything, but trust me, the students there are like the smartest. Not because they were born smart, but because the rules and regulations, you can't do this, you can't wear black on black, you can't do that. It has made them devise ways. Do you know they still do the worst things out there, but they lie and they cover up? That's because the rules are just too many.
Anyways, let me buttress this as well. So, and I will throw a sweeping. When I say sweeping question, that means we're about to park and sweep, and that's it. And like you guys have actually hit the nail on the head. I'm not pitching my tent with anyone. I'm just like the guy they asked the question. I said, what is your take? He said, well, some of my friends are for it, some of my friends are against it, but for me and for my friends.
For your friends, you're not for their take. You're not for them.
All right, so I'm really for you guys. I'm rooting for you guys. And the thing now is, I understand the fact that this question, we've delved deeper into this topic. Now, I love the fact that we said yes, we've been able to express our Africanity with our dressing here. That validates my point that Nigerians precisely, we are unapologetic. Wherever we are, we will express ourselves, and we are not shameful to be black. Now, moving forward, because there's always a living note to everybody at home, everybody listening. What would be your take as regards the dressing culture? Because I know there are some people right now that are parents trying to instill, cultural African values into their kids, and the kids are also struggling and saying, "Mom, this is me," and there's a conflict in the home. But what would be your take for them right now? They're listening and say, "Okay, fine. This is where you should pitch your tent with, and this is what you should do." So and I'm also going to speak to Koko. And
the thing is, as long as you are adapting, because one thing for sure is adaptation. Adaptation must occur. As long as you are adapting, you must, first of all, have a limit to adaptation, one. Then also, keep your roots in mind. That's why I really appreciate the Asians more than Africans. Because you see the Asian people, they've been able to preserve their culture in terms of dressing, language. You see a child, I was in the bus one day. There was this, I don't know where they're from, probably from one of these Arab countries. That boy, I believe the child was born here because that child should not be more than 4 or 5 years. Clean British accent. Cha 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 cha, all chatty and everything. And then the mother switched into the Arabic language. And the child was speaking, I was like, what the? So you see, the fact that the child has adapted in terms of accent, they still find ways to bring that their original culture. That's the problem I have with a lot of Nigerian immigrants. We come here and we totally throw our identity in the bush, throw it away. And there is no trace of that Africanness. I'm not saying I'm not saying don't dress. You have to dress to adapt to the environment you are in. But you have to have your limits.
Okay, taking it from K, limitation, just put a limit and
have your limits.
Just have your limits the way you go. So the beautiful Koko, what would be your take?
So I mean, I agree with K, right? And in as much as you are trying to be or still have the African roots and everything in whatever it is that you're doing while raising your kids and you as yourself, you personally, I think there should also be a balance. Try not to be hypocritical. I don't know why, for me, that's like where my problem is. That's where I draw the line. Just in whatever you do, just make sure that it makes you happy and you're not necessarily thinking too much about what the next person says, because out here nobody really cares. And if it doesn't make you happy, why should you even care what those people would say and stuff like that? So while you're trying to maintain your African roots and everything, just like you said earlier on,
don't lose your own identity.
Exactly. Also filter out what it is for your conscience. If you know that this thing is right to you, I think we're born with that thing. There's a term, there's actually some term for it, but you're born with it. You know deep down what is right and what is wrong. So if it agrees with your conscience as a person, so just follow it and make sure that you're not hypocritical. Just leave that hypocrisy back at home. That's
okay. For everything that has a beginning, there must be an end. This is not the end of 3,000 miles, but it is the end of today's episode. It's been a very beautiful session with my beautiful people. My boss, who is the brain behind this program, that's Sodeke, and to the beautiful Koko. She has journeyed with us 3,000 miles from the school studio. She's
down to
Jambo Radio.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't you forget, this is Jambo Radio, and we are live here in Scotland. You can also download our app on iOS and Android. Jambo Radio is also available on smart speakers, and you can find us on social media platforms. Jambo Radio Scotland, you cannot miss it. It's all on all social media. My name is Dimeji and
it's PK. Also a big shout out to our producer Zainab.
Oh,
a big shout out to Zainab. You were forgetting Zainab. Like you don't want to come for the next episode.
Forgive me of my sin. That's the boss. That's the real boss.
That's the real boss.
Yeah. And big shout out to Zainab, the beautiful Zainab, and Serena as well. They've been so helpful. We will meet next time for beautiful and interesting topics. And those of you that have been dropping comments on social media, I can see you. You can keep on, and trust me, next week is going to be more and more interesting. That's it. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.